So that's recording now. So we're all on motivating the team. And all I ask for you is just to apply these tools. These tools you can also utilize when motivating a potential prospect to make a decision, or yes or no decision, either way. These tools you can use for self-motivation as well. So if you find out your goal is you want to create a full-time income from your network marketing business, you might want to ask yourself, what will that give me? You might want to ask yourself, why is that important to me? You might want to ask yourself, if you remember for the goal set one, what would that look like? What things would have to be in place for that to be possible for you? You might want to ask a series of questions to get really clear on that. So did we have any questions at all before we begin? Nope. So we're looking probably to finish around 9:22, maybe 1:45 if you've got any questions. Let me share across. All right. There we go. Let's have a look. All righty. So there we go. So motivating your team. So the key things we want to do here is, before I go into this, we're talking about leadership here as well. I know sometimes people say, oh, my team's not motivated, but they just don't take any action themselves, and then they expect the team to do the opposite. It doesn't work. Again, incongruence, yeah? It makes me laugh when people say, look, my team's not motivated. They're not doing any Facebook Lives. I was like, okay, so when was the last time you did a Facebook Live? I've not done one. Now, how are they going to do a Facebook Live if you haven't done one? Got to lead by example. It's not that they're not motivated. If you don't do it yourself, they're going to follow the example of the leader. So motivation-wise, obviously, we're going to go for what's motivation, intrinsic. So in other words, internal, external. Why is motivation important? And linking. So linking is going to be an important one. Because if you link everything to your primary motivation, you put fuel for your fire. In other words, the more reasons you have to do something, the higher likelihood that you'll actually do it. Where the less reasons you have to do it, there's a higher likelihood that you won't do it. So you're stacking the reasons in your favor. Now this is important because most people stack the reasons not in their favor, and they stack a load of reasons of why they can't do it, rather than why they can and it's possible. Now, what we want to do also with obviously the action side, which is going to be important, is we don't want it just from a mindset perspective to be possible. We want it to be probable, because we want to take actions on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, which increases the probability of it becoming a reality as well. I was listening to an interview yesterday as a top trainer in the NLP and coaching world, and he said the issue with the law of attraction, not law of attraction specifically, but the secret is there's no mention of the word action. If we're just going to visualize and things are going to drop in our lap, it's not actually true. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. So unfortunately, a lot of people are sold on that premise. The secret's an introduction, which is okay, but most of the work is borrowed from there. And borrowed from people that weren't very happy about it, but we won't go into that for now. So good commercially, very, very good. They've done well from that, yeah? You can have the secret, you can have the hero, you can have whatever, the secret's journey. But I digress. So let me crack on with this. So linking, mission. People follow people on a mission. So you might have a mission. So for me personally, I'm on a mission this year to impact 1,000 network marketers to grow their confidence so they can grow their team, so they can positively impact their families' lives, increase their income so they can change their lifestyle. That is what my mission is this year. Yeah, that's what I committed to in January, and I'm going to be working towards that all year. Now, if I don't hit that for any reason, I still know that mission is driving me forward. Actually, to be honest, nothing's going to stop me from not being able to do that. So that's my mission, yeah? Vision is where you see yourself in the future. So someone says to you, where do you see yourself in a year's time? Where do you see yourself in 2 years' time? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? So what's your vision for the future? So the mission is the cause and kind of sort of the driving force, and your vision is where you see yourself going. They are quite interlinked, but that's the key thing there. So once you have that in place, motivation is just your reasons. Now, in network marketing, they talk about what's your why and your why power, and that's important as well. But you also can link it to every single post that you do on Facebook. So what is your, in a marketing terms, they would call it your strategy. So what is the purpose behind a post? Is it an engagement post? Is it a testimonial or social proof post so people just like them can get results? Is it a positioning post around the company, around certain products? Is it an educational based post? So you're educating people on the benefits of the product? Is it you're getting people to go, oh, did you know that? And they're like, no, I didn't know that. And then they get that information fed down and downloaded, and they're like, ah, okay, interesting. Is it the strategy of connecting on people's posts? Because if you're not connecting on people's posts, you're not boosting your algorithm and you don't appear on their timeline. What's the purpose? This is key because it's very easy. I know I scrolled a bit today, to be honest with you. It's very easy to scroll on Facebook. You've got to get specific and intentional with it. And what's your motive for action? So I like to call motivation, your motivation is your motive in action. Your motive in action, your purpose in action. Now, I know some people say, what's your purpose? And that's cool. It's good to have that sort of clarity. But the problem is sometimes people are waiting for their purpose to whack them on the side of the head and they get going. Don't wait for that. Get present in your purpose now and take action from there. So motive for action, motivation in action, reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way. Yeah. So look, I'll give you an example. I've spoken to probably about 8 to 10 people over the last week or so. And they were like, yes, Aleem, I'm on it. I want to do this next program. I want to get these results. And for whatever reason, a lot of them talked themselves out of it. So their fear was greater than their desire. Their fear was greater than their desire. So these people went, yeah, okay. And then some of them just didn't message back. And that's fair enough. It happens. It's Facebook, right? But it's interesting because we want to find out what is their motive for action. Now, we got clear on the motive for action. We got clear on the results. We got clear on the problem we're solving. But their fear talked them out of it. So they're looking to protect being okay, being fine. In other words, with every goal you'll find, a lot of people have a but if this happens, but, and it's the second part of the goal which they talk themselves out of it. But I could never do network marketing. What would my family think? But isn't that a pyramid scheme? But I don't know if I can do this. But, oh, I don't have the time. And whatever they say is a second part, that is their reason. Sometimes it's called an excuse, but sometimes it's very logical reasons. But the challenge is if you ask your mind enough questions in a certain direction, you'll get the answer you want or don't want. It depends what questions you ask. Yeah. So your motive for action. This is an important one. So internal versus external. Now, in reality, a lot of people will have elements of both. So some people can have elements of both in there. Some people can be more externally motivated. So for example, someone who's seen as an extrovert might have more external motivation. They're more outwardly focused. They tend to be more extrinsically rewards. So in looking at network marketing, what do you have? Compensation plan. You have the reward of certain monies. You have the reward of recognition. Yeah, so those are the external rewards. So if someone is externally motivated, those sort of things you want to include because it's important. Yeah, because that's what they're driven by. This arises from the outside of the individual motivation, which originates inside of the individual. So an intrinsic motivated person is more about their standards. It's more about how they feel, more about sort of if I do that, it makes me feel good. If I do that, I know I feel proud of myself. So that sort of stuff. Yeah. So that's more intrinsically motivated person. Now, a quick rule of thumb, if someone's more intrinsic, they tend to be a little bit more introverted. If someone, and when I say introverted, they can be introverted, maybe a bit more of a thinker in that sense. If someone is external, they can tend to be more focus driven, like wear their heart on their sleeve sort of thing, would be a saying on that one. But they're more rewarding on looking at that. Ideally, now this is the challenge in network marketing. Ideally, you want someone to have maybe a mixture of both. But if you have one, that's brilliant, but also include the other motivation. Example, you're going to feel really good when you create the type of income you want for yourself and your family, if they've said that's important to them. Now, if they said, if you can hear in their language, they're talking about feeling good, link it to the external goal. Because you want the feeling to be linked to something that they want. But if you link the feeling to what they want, it makes it even stronger and it magnifies it. When we do the network marketing colors, generally, the greens and the yellows are more intrinsic, generally, yeah? Because they want to help people. It's about other people. They want to have that feeling of helping people. They want to think things over. I've had a lot of people saying to me, what do I do? People keep saying that they need more information. They need to think it over. Don't give them loads of information because they'll always ask for more information. Just say, look, all of the information you need, we can help you get started with once you're in the program. Once you're started when you've had a look at the opportunity group, you'll have some questions there. Best go in there first, and then you can see it for yourself. An extrinsically motivated person, it's the money, it's the fame, it's the parts of the compensation plan, it's the external lifestyle. So these are maybe more your reds than your blues, if you think of network marketers. If it doesn't make sense yet, that's okay, because we're doing that next week. But more of your reds and your blues, which are around money, fun, social life. Fun, social life, mainly blues. Money, bottom line, reds. Yeah, bit of a generalization, but it does fit pretty well. Yellows, helping people. Greens, information, your engineer sort of personality that likes the finer details. If someone says they want a lot of info, you just say, look, that's great. You love a lot of information, and we're going to give you those specific details once we get you started. You can get all those questions answered. Shall we get you started today? Would that be a good idea for you? That's the way that you might invite the green to get started and close the deal. Both are interesting because sometimes you'll have people that are a mixture. So you might have 40% external, 40% internal, maybe 20% a mixture of both. So how you listen out for it, the external person goes, I just want to achieve this goal. I just want to hit the next part of my compensation plan because I want people to see how far I've progressed. Yeah, that's a very external answer. Comparison to the internal person might say, I just want to feel that I'm making progress. I just want to feel like I'm making progress. But I haven't said where they want to progress to. Tendency, if someone's very intrinsic, they're not necessarily clear on their goals. Not necessarily very clear on their goals on this one. Extrinsic, they tend to be more goal orientated. Intrinsic or internal motivated, it's more about being the better version of themselves. That would be the best way. Extrinsic, all about sort of hitting that next part. Now, what you have, and this is linked a little bit to this, is on the real extreme, you'll have narcissism, which is the very externally focused person. It's all about them, but it's not about anyone else. It's all about them, and that could have the narcissist. And then on the opposite, you have, I don't know what you would call it because the word's gone out of my head, but you have the other extreme, which is we must give to everyone, we must help everyone. In reality, both traits are useful because you kind of need an overlap. The reason why I say they're both useful, because in business, if you gave everything away for free, you don't have a business. And if you just did it for yourself, you're not serving the needs of others. So you don't have a business either, because it's just about you. So you need a combination of both traits. The challenge is, if you have someone who's over giving, they don't tend to grow their business. They give things at discounts and free and all of this, and that doesn't work either. So you've got to have both traits of focus on me, focus on them. Combine the two, you have a business, because you have service to many leads to greatness, which a byproduct of service to you because you're growing your business. Yeah. So when people say it's better to give than to receive, and it should feel good, and it's not about money and it's not about that, not really. You kind of need both. Both are effective for things. What you'll find is you're generally one more than the other, and that's okay. But you require both to create a successful business and maximum amount of impact. So if you ever had the idea that you want to speak on stage at your next conference, and you want to talk maybe at a global event, for example, I know one of the companies has got something coming up in Poland, and you wanted to speak on stage there, it makes sense not just to fuel your feelings and how you feel, but fuel your income so you can go travel there by plane. It makes sense to have both. Sometimes people think, oh, it's about the impact, but you're not truly impacting people if you're not able to affect their income and your income. So you've got to have both. You've got to have both, yeah? So that's just an example. I've gone a little bit more into detail on that, but internal and externally motivated, yeah? Now, this is what's key. And the leaders get this. You know, when you have the leaders that say, I've got this 6-figure invite, I've got this $1 million close, they get this motivation thing. They know exactly, in sales and even inviting terms, they call it a hot button, which is basically what is the one thing that's really going to push that person over the edge to make the decision that's good for them to get, pardon me, the results they want. What is that? Now, for some people, it's one pain. There's a primary pain that they're not able to satisfy what they're currently doing. For others, there's a primary goal. So what is it? Is it pain or is it pleasure? Now, both are effective, but you're kind of finding out what's their motive for action. Now, this is key, because in network marketing, we know that obviously the leverage is in the team build, so duplication is key. The number one thing that's never really duplicated that well is mindset. Now, because the reason why, obviously, one level, everyone's gone through different experiences. A lot of people talk about motivation. A lot of people talk about, I'm smiling. A lot of people talk about being positive, and that's important as well. But in reality, you have both positive and negative traits in all of us. It's just the reality of it. But people don't talk about it. They say you must think positive, you must visualize, and that's great. You also got to take action as well, which is the implementation, which most people don't. That's why they don't get results. That's why in this program, the importance of mindset, importance of strategy, and the importance of action. If you miss any of those three, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. The reason why the mindset bit is emphasized as much, because the fear of rejection is the number one thing that holds people back in network marketing. Once they lose that fear, they increase their possibility and probability of taking action, but still got to take action. Yeah? If the fear is not there, take action and create the results. Can you motivate yourself? So do you know why you're doing what you're doing? You probably all know the reason why you got into network marketing. And with this is key. And sometimes we forget this, and I sometimes forget this. You can reconnect with this every single day. It takes 5-10 minutes. Sometimes I've done in the past something called a personal inner commitment. I haven't done it for a while. Probably I can reconnect with that. But your primary motive for action. So it's a question like this. What is the one thing that if you can achieve it or solve it via network marketing for you, what would that be? That one thing is your driver. That's your hot button, which is going to help you get results. So if you're asking a prospect, look, I know you said it's important to you to do X, Y, and Z. What is the one thing that's going to get you to take action today so we can get you started? What is that one thing? And they can let you know. Or out of curiosity, what would it take for you today to take that next step? So if someone is, I know I'm going slightly off topic, but that's a very process orientated person. That's an internally motivated person usually. What is that next step that we can help you take today? This is a green sort of language, that next step that we can help you take today so we can get you started. It's a very green language, very process. If you're a thinker, that sort of thing is usually going to work for you. Or how are we going to help you help other people that's going to help you move you forward today? Yellow language. How are we gonna, what's it gonna take for you to absolutely take action today so you can create that income? Red language. What is it gonna take for you today so you can really have fun, get going, get that energy speaking to new people? What would it take today for us to be able to do that for you? Blue language, yeah? Which is social. We'll go more into that next week. So if you don't know how to motivate others, how is a team going to grow? That's the core question. Everyone asks what the goal is. Remember we had the SMART goals? Everyone asks that. They go specific, measurable, achievable, yeah? Realistic and time frames, yeah? Achievable, do you believe it? Realistic, are you responsible? Are people taking responsibility for the actions they're taking? I spoke to a lady today and she was like, yeah, I could probably get back to my DMO. And I said, what you realize is, I know you placed your DMO to one side for a while. Most people that say that you just have to get back to their DMO usually have some other beliefs that are holding them back, like fear, like overwhelm, and that prevents most people. But the DMO will definitely help you. And she goes, you know what, you're right. I've got this fear of failure because I've done MLM for 4 years. I've never made any money from it. And I'm not sure, I don't want to keep repeating that. Then we found out what was underneath it. So now we know what her motive for action was. Now, whether she takes action or not, I don't know. I've offered her an opportunity for something she can do. Whether she does it or not, that's up to her. But that's a key thing. If someone is internally directed, I know I'm going off topic a little bit because I've been reading a lot about people's different types of motivation. If someone is internally directed, they want to make the decision for themselves. Remember on all the invites, we said stuff like, let's see if it's for you or not, internally directed person. So in other words, assume everyone is internally directed unless proven otherwise. So in other words, if someone's very direct, they're very externally motivated. If someone is soft in voice, if someone is a thinker, they're internally directed. Unless someone says to you, how much money can I make? What do I have to do? Unless they're very, very direct, then they're probably internally directed. If they're very direct, they're external. Yeah, so they're more externally motivated. So motivating others is a key one because it will help you to grow your team. And then what's important to you about growing a team? So these might be questions you might ask yourself. So this one here, if you think of it, what we're talking about the pain element. If you don't know how, yeah, to motivate others. What's important to you to grow a team? This is more towards, yeah. But this might be, they might go, if I don't grow a team, I limit the amount of income I can create. So that's an away from. They don't want to be limited by the amount of income. So it's a pain. They're trying to move away from that so they can create more income. So get very, very clear. I know I'm going a bit in depth here, but get clear on what's actually driving them. Yeah. If they're talking about avoiding something, it's a pain. If they're talking about moving towards something, it's a pleasure. It's moving towards a benefit. Yeah. So linking. So linking is simply the more reasons you have for creating a result or solving a problem, the higher likelihood of you achieving that outcome. Because you're strong, you have enough whys, enough reasons to create the result. If you don't have a lot of reasons to create the result, you'll have reasons the opposite way to uncreate the result. In other words, the reasons that hold people back. Now, people don't believe me when I say this, is most people have limiting beliefs. I'll give you an example. This will make you smile. I know it's a different country and whatever, but this will make you smile. I was speaking to a leader. I'm not going to mention the company, not going to mention the country they're from. And we were going to put some training together regards to this program. And I suggested, look, you've got X amount in your team. It'd be useful to impact 50 to 100 people because then it will create a ripple effect, because I'm on a mission to impact 1,000 network marketers this year. We said, okay, the program, the investment, what we've done, case studies, £97, so we can help people move forward. What made me laugh is they said to me, is that £97 for the whole team? I said, no. It's like, come on. I know we're working on a different currency, but come on. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, how can you even say that? But it was just like, oh, God. So that happens. Yeah, that happens. And it happens more frequently than you realize, but it does happen. So that's why I say you've got to get really clear on sort of people's motivation. You've got very, very clear. Yeah. So linking can be obviously important for your team to keep them motivated. Challenges are useful, especially when you've got someone who's externally motivated. I know Fraser Brooks does something called Dash for Cash. That's for the externally motivated people. Ideally, you want to have some external motivation as well. I don't want to be bad, but if you just want to help people and feel good, that's great, but you're not going to increase the level of income that you want. If you want to feel good and help people and helping more people to increase their income as a byproduct of you increase your income, that's your access to the income itself. Yeah, income and impact. So in other words, you can truly only help people if you're willing to help yourself increase your lifestyle and increase their lifestyle. You can only truly help people if you're open to doing that. Why I say that? Because to truly help people, you can help one person, but to help many, you can increase their income, which changes their lifestyle and their impact for their family. Imagine if they can actually go on a holiday if they haven't been for a couple of years. Imagine how they would make them feel regards to their family. If you're open to doing for others that, be open to do it for yourself. It's key. Don't forget about yourself. Yeah, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. And a lot of people go 50, 60, 70 years always putting other people first. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. Do value other people, but remember the number one person, I know this sounds bad, for some maybe, is you. If you cannot value you, you can't truly help others to value themselves. It's a direct mirror reflection. So important. Yeah. So linking is the process. So if someone's externally motivated, link it to that. If someone's internally motivated, link it to, yes, you can, this is going to make you feel really good because you can help a lot of people. And what that means for you is when you help to increase their income, you'll help to increase your income and you'll feel great about it. Link it, really link it, because you want them to do well in business as well as in themselves. In this thing called success, whatever success is, you have external, which is the goals, and you have internal, which is fulfillment. You kind of want both. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive, but it is useful to have both, I think, to be honest. It just makes more sense. We're going to do, obviously, Money Mindset at the end of this 8 weeks. And that, one of the top coaches I know in the world, doesn't work in this field of network marketing, but coaches like high performers, the first thing he works with coaches, actually, the number one thing he first starts working with coaches when they're building their coaching practice is money. And people ask him, why would you focus on the money? It's about the impact. And he said, look, as they can increase their income, they can impact more people. Why wouldn't I focus on the money with them? Because money is about value and service. If there's a lack of money, it's because there's a lack of service. Is that key? So if someone says ridiculously, can I have a discount of 50%? You say no. I saw someone's post the other day and they're like, look, my products are reasonably priced already. Why am I going to give you a discount? You kind of say no because everyone says they're skint. And most of the people that say that are not skint. They got a flat screen television. They've got a 50-inch TV. And they got no books or library to actually improve their growth. Or YouTube is there as well, so you don't even have to have loads of books. So they spend on a 50-inch TV and no books. But yet, you could do both. It makes sense. You could actually have that 50-inch TV and you can actually have the knowledge and helping greater number of people. They're not exclusive. They're not, as I said, they're not exclusive. They can be inclusive. Do realize that. Don't get caught up in some people saying, oh, it's better to give than to receive. No, it's best to do both. Because if you're not receiving, you're not giving, because you're not allowing other people to give. Just remember that, yeah? I know I'm emphasizing certain points because a lot of the personal development stuff, there's a misinterpretation. And unfortunately, the masses are sold on it. Don't be sold on what the masses are sold on, because a lot of it doesn't work. It sounds bad, but a lot of it doesn't work, and it keeps people stuck. And they buy the next book and the next book and the next book, and they're still flipping in the same place. And I'm like, come on. If X number of books didn't do it, maybe something's got to be happening differently. Yeah? So find out why it's important to them. What does it give them? What's their driving force? So I say this, these are value-based questions, what's important to them. The reason why I say it's important is values drive behavior. Values drive behavior. Certain beliefs that support values, but values drive behavior. So if you don't know what drives their behavior, we're guessing. Sometimes they're motivated, sometimes they're not motivated. Sometimes we think, oh, why they're not motivated? And it's like, oh, I can't do it. Just find out what's important to them, and you'll find what drives them. You really will. Find it early on. Make a list. Like, I'm guilty of this. Make a list of what drives people. Make a list of what drives people. And then you've got that. When you're focusing on your team, you go, this person's got this goal. They want to do it because of this. Then when you speak with them and they say, for example, they're not creating the results they want. Now, look, I know when you joined up, this was your goal and this was important to you. Now, I want to support you with that. What would you be willing to do to help you to move forward with that? So it's coaching mode. What would you be willing to do so we can help you move forward with that? And they give you a list of things. Okay, brilliant. With those actions, what's the one action that you can take in the next 24 hours that's going to help you move closer to that? And they go, well, okay, good. Complete that action. Yeah. So that's accountability, but you're keeping them accountable on the goals they've given you and the reasons. So it's not your reasons, it's their reasons. It's in black and white. Yeah. Very similar when someone gives you their goals and their values and you just feed it back. They're like, oh yeah, actually I do want that. That's me. That's me driven for that. So you give them what they give you because you're not motivating them. They're motivating themselves with their own motive for action. You're just feeding it back. So you've got to be a good listener, which is key. I think ladies tend to get this a little bit better than us guys, but be a good listener. What do they say? 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. That's the key thing. So that's your linking aspect. Simple question. So I've probably said it. What's important to you about X? So what's important to you about creating a part-time income for you? What's important to you about feeling that you can put some time into yourself? What does it give you? That's another question. Yeah. So this is especially true, and I think most people found it on the older 6-week program as well when we did the language stuff. This is especially true when people are finding out information about the opportunity, because you're not being salesy, you're basically being, rather than pushy, you're being pulley. You're pulling out the answers by your questions. a simple one, which is in old sales language, and it's still very applicable today. Whoever asks the questions leads the conversation. Whoever asks the questions leads the conversation. Someone says, I would do this, but I never find that I have the time. If you had the time, what would you be able to do? If you had the time, what would you be able to do? Oh, I'd like to do this and like that. Do you know, most people, they don't think that they have the time initially. But what they find is once they get going, it fits really well with their lifestyle. Should we help you to take the next step so we can help you to move forward? Yeah, brilliant. Let's get you started today. That would be okay, right? And then you close them. Yeah, close them on that. These questions are vital to find people's motive for action. This is very, very true, especially with the people that are internally focused. For anyone anyway, but internally focused. These are normally the people that will give you specific things. For example, if you ask them something like, I don't know, if it was in a job context, yeah? So why did you choose that job? They will say it's because it was close to home. I felt like I was valued there, and there was a place for growth. So they'll give you 2, 3, 4, 5 reasons, where someone who's maybe not as values driven will not give you necessarily a criteria or values. They'll give you stuff like, yeah, they'll give you a whole story. Oh, it's because I met this guy at a restaurant and he was talking about this job and I thought, you know what, it's quite there. Let me go and start that. They won't say it was close to home. They'll give you a whole story and you ask them one question and they go on for 10 minutes. So that's a person who might not be as values driven, but they're more, again, I'm interlinking some other stuff. They're more procedure driven. They're more into the process, the story, rather than X, Y, Z. They're not giving you criteria or values. They're giving you a story. The values question works for them as well. It does work as well, but they might go, you might have to sort of say, that's really good that you met that person and that person. Would it be fair to say if you had the similar thing where you met someone perhaps like myself today and we could help you to go to the next step, would you be open to doing that? You know what I mean? So you've gone into the story mode with them as well. Yeah. Next step, procedures. Where someone whose values is X, Y, Z, they like to break a few rules. They like certain things to be there. If those things aren't there, they get out pretty much. Yeah. Cool. I told you it's going to be a short one today. Yeah. So we are quite close there. I did digress a little bit, but I thought the other bits are useful because we got to know what motivates people. If we don't know what motivates them or how to motivate ourselves, they're just not going to take action. Your only purpose of finding a motive for action is to influence behavior. And behavior and the action part creates results. If people are not taking action, what's stopping them? There might be some limiting beliefs. There might be, maybe they're not prioritizing their time, which sounds bad. It's never about the time. It's how they manage themselves around time. They'll blame the time, they'll blame the kids, but it's kind of them. Yeah, so sometimes you can be a bit direct. Sometimes you go, look, what could you do differently? If the kids weren't there and this and this and this, what would you do? And they will hesitate. They will hesitate at that point. And you'll say, okay, so because you hesitated, would it be fair to say that it's maybe not the kids at this time, but it might be how you manage your time and make you a priority? Would that be okay? Yeah. And then you work with that, because this time management stuff, you can have, the problem is with a lot of these time management systems, they take too much bloody time to do and people don't implement them. It's supposed to save time and they have this whole system and whole notes. Procrastinators are great. And again, the procrastinator doesn't really exist, but they're great at putting loads of lists together, but the list looks so long, they don't bloody do anything. So time management is supposed to save time. If your system is that, and you're not taking the single first step, there's no point having a system because the system's failed. System failure. You want to take action, yeah? Let me just unmute the mics. I know, Eliza, you've got a bit of a cold as well. which is fair enough. I know for yourself, Ollie, you're listening in the background. You've got the little ones there. Did you have any questions or insights or ways that you thought, you know what, I could maybe use this. I could maybe ask these questions of my team and make it effective. Go ahead, Pam.
Oh, I knew you'd pick on me first. Go on, repeat that question again.
Yeah, so did you have any questions regards to, or either questions on the challenge side, so maybe it's a challenge that's coming up maybe with a team member, or is there thinking, you thought to yourself, oh, I could maybe implement this, like each person I speak to, I could maybe find out what their goals and what's driving them?
Yeah, I can do that, but I've also got a lady that is getting rather disheartened, so I'll go back on everything, and I'm going to book a Zoom with me and her, or ask her to come, because she lives down the road from me, so she could come to mine for a coffee and we can have a good chat, and I can implement some of them things then. And see if I can work with her, because she's no intention on building a team herself.
Okay.
She's quite happy, family and friends, but obviously that small circle of family and friends can only have so much of them products, and it comes to a point where they don't need any more for a while. So the sales are drying up. So because she's not getting any more sales, she's getting quite disheartened. So you know, there's a few things on there what I've listened to you and what I've wrote down that I can sort of use.
And we use a little bit of generalization. So if we assume everyone is internal. So what I mean by that is we start using language like probably. We start using language like, would this be good for you? Rather than you should do this or you have to do this. Those words, for the most part, we look to avoid, because for most people, they demotivate them. It reminds them of being at home.
I was just going to say, it's like being at school, being told what to do.
Yeah. So, and some people do the exact opposite. So, my wife's out of the room. She's one of those people that.
I'll tell her.
Language-wise, you've got to be more. You can do that if you want to. Now she knows what I'm doing, but it's if there is no feeling of choice, you will do the opposite.
Yeah, you go around the houses, but they still make the decisions at the end. But really, you've guided them into making them decisions rather than telling them what they need to be doing.
That's it. So that's the sort of approach on that, and it's stuff like probably.
I'm used to doing that with my husband.
Yeah. Perhaps you might want to do that. And then it kind of, if they're the literal person, they'll do it. Pretty much if they're the thinking person, they think for a second and they go, oh, okay. And they might think if it's a good idea or not a good idea. So that's useful. Maybe find out from her who else does she know, because the friends and family is okay. But it might be for her creating referrals from friends and family and extending her reach through the one or two people that each one might know, which could present, I don't know, another 5 to 10 more people who know another 5 to 10 more people who know another 5 to 10 more people. Just like word of mouth back in the day when business was just exclusively built on that. It's kind of that strategy. Who do you know that you really value and care about, especially if they're a very yellow person, that you value and care about, that would benefit, or who do you know that would value and care about, that would benefit from experiencing some of these products that you've enjoyed? And then you could put, because most people know at least 2 or 3 people that they would love to experience the products as well. And then it just gets her mind thinking in that direction of possibility rather than impossibility, which closes off. So that's a key one. Simple question you can also ask is the word how. And Brian Tracy goes on about this a lot. And he says, most people they just ask loads of hows. How do I do this? How can I make this happen? what would have to be, I like this one, what would have to be in place for you to take the action? What would have to be in place for you to create that result? So if someone says my income, they want to increase their income, they want to maybe do 5K in network marketing. What would have to be in place for you to be able to do that? Okay, I need a team of X. I need to create that many sales. How many sales would that be a month, a week, a day? What's your daily income goal? Now, a lot of people don't break it down. What would be your daily income goal? How many sales would that be? Now, I know this is the numbers side, and people are like, oh, why do I want to do that? Well, you want to impact 1 million people, or you want to impact 5,000 people. But if you're not willing to break things down to impacting that 1 or 2 people initially every single day, how are you going to impact 5,000?
Yeah.
So it's that sort of, it's kind of bringing in the people that are very, one thing as well is looking at, are people big scoped people? So do they look for the general big picture, or do they look for very specific? These fit in nicely because if they're very specific, you give them specific deals. If they're very big picture, you might give them some specifics, like if you do 3 posts a day as part of your DMO, what that will allow you to do is to take those steps to increase your income for your family so you can go on holiday next year. So their big picture might be the holiday next year, but their small picture is 3 posts a day, which is going to do X, which is going to do Y. So you're linking. You see how it's all linking in there. So that would be useful on that one. And people that like choice, just give them choice. I said this one the other day, actually, it's quite interesting. I know we're going shopping today. My wife's not a procedure person when it comes to shopping. Yeah, the option person. So I know we're going shopping today. Why don't you write a list of options of what we could get? A list of options rather than a list of things that we have to get. A list of options we can get. Then there's choice again there. Yeah. But if there's not a list there, I don't know about you, I don't find shopping that exciting. It's okay, but I don't find it that exciting. I don't want to be looking around everywhere. I'd rather
don't mind clothes shopping.
Yeah.
Don't mind clothes shopping or shoe shopping.
Yeah.
But I don't food shop. My husband goes and does that.
Yeah. So that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say is key. But that's the key thing. Did you have any specific questions at all, Pam?
No. I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah. Eliza, if you're a bit sniffly, that's okay. But did you want to type any question at all? And same with yourself, Ozzy, if you want to type anything. Otherwise, feel free to share it in the group. That's okay as well. Do you like that option language? Feel free to share it in the group as well. Okay. Yeah. So that will be okay if you want to do that. We're going to hit the stop button in a second, see if there's any questions, give a few moments. Next week, what we're going to go into is your network marketing colors. This is useful for specifically inviting and sales, even for your posts. What type of person are you looking to attract? What's the problem you're solving, or what is the goal that they really want?
I'm going to have to watch that one on catch up, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Because we've got the company, I've got a Zoom with a networker, and it's one I don't really want to miss. It being a Zoom, I can't watch that back where I can for this one.
Yeah, fair enough. That's cool. That sounds like fun anyway.
It's Mr. FB.
Huh?
It's Mr. FB.
Oh, Mr. Fraser Brooks. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, but he's doing a lot of trainings at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's doing a company Zoom for us. Oh,
nice. That would be pretty cool.
He's got
plenty of energy. A lot of energy. He's very blue, isn't he? He's very social. He's driven on the money as well, of course. Like with anyone in business, you're going to have that aspect.
Of course, he's not stupid, is he?
No. He knows what he's doing, and he's a nice guy. I like him. He's cool. So that's cool, Eliza. That's cool. So I will hit the stop now.